Now you get older, you start using laxative.
That's true.
And I'm getting old. You kid, in my backyard, I got a kidney-shaped pool with a stone in it. I mean, old.
The funniest jokes on The Tonight Show happened when comedians hit the stage and destroyed the audience with material so sharp that Johnny himself couldn't stop laughing.
What was it like when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, well, I was partially electrocuted by a Lionel train.
These are the most funny jokes on Johnny Carson. Rodney Dangerfield is on fire.
That's a bad news-looking girl.
But there's a lot of sexy girls around. I'll tell you that.
Really?
I met a sexy girl a few weeks ago who worked in a restaurant making hamburgers. She told me she could make a big boy in 3 minutes and a boy big in 2 minutes. Very sexy girl. Now, you meet girls, though, you can't believe him. You can't believe him.
No, of course not.
I was with one girl, she said, I don't do this normally. I said, it's all right, I'm a little weird myself, you know.
Rodney sounds like he's operating at full speed, hitting the audience with one bad life detail after another without ever losing control. Sammy Davis Jr. and Carson Trade impressions.
I got to tell you something that I'm a little upset with, and that is the fact that George Burns did Bojangles.
Right.
The ladies danced.
Right.
And prior to all of that, he says, Bogart, where does it say any place in a trade paper that Johnny Carson does Bogart? Now, I want to see you do it.
Well, we did it that night.
No, I don't mean with Shecky and I here. Please do Bogart for me, please.
Sammy and Johnny are both clearly enjoying the game from the first minute, as each impression pushes the other to answer with something even better. Bob Newhart is convinced all country music is just one song.
That's got to be Louisiana.
Campty, Louisiana. And
Was he a Cajun?
Cajun, and we had the bunk next to each other, and every day he'd wake up. He spoke to me for 2 years in the Army. To this day, I haven't the slightest idea what he said.
That's funny you mentioned that because I said Cajun right away because I used to know a fellow because I was stationed for a while in Jackson, Mississippi, and I had a guy, haven't heard from him in 20-some years, Manu Arsenault.
Manu, well, he's probably a good friend of Gus's.
Gus's Broussard, the same thing, and they do have a rhythm in the speech that is...
Well, he would say, Drill, Dolph, Middle, Rest,
Bob's whole strength is patience, and this bit shows that perfectly as he starts with a simple idea, then keeps narrowing in until it becomes absurd. Rodney Dangerfield has Carson hysterically cracking up.
Well, you should
but I'll tell you, Johnny, you take care of your spark plugs and points, you'll never have trouble with your car. Never, right? You know that.
How are your points?
Plugs and points are the whole thing. My plugs are okay, I have trouble with my points.
I've heard that.
Yeah. But spark plugs are very, it's hard to get good spark plugs today.
I didn't know that.
It's hard.
Really?
Well, you know what they say about spark plugs.
What do they say?
You turn them upside down, they all look alike.
Like, sure they do. You're right.
The entire point of this segment is right there in the title as Rodney piles one miserable line on top of the next until Johnny cracks. Mel Brooks' hilarious Cary Grant story.
And he would just say, here's the way you do. How do you do that? Well, you do it this way.
Right, he'd show you.
We couldn't tell you.
And then when he saw Blazing Saddles, I finally made it. You know, I made this remarkable hit, Blazing Saddles. It was a big hit. And I ran into Buddy at a favorite Italian restaurant we used to go to in New York, Patsy's.
Right.
And he came up to me with tears in his eyes and he said, gee, it's such a big hit and you could have been a good drummer, Mel.
Mel Brooks is great here because the joke isn't just the story itself, but the way he attacks every beat of it, making Cary Grant sound larger than life. Sammy Davis Jr. impersonates celebrities.
It's a kind of a feeling. You know what I mean. You sit behind this desk, man, and you know, with due respects to the other performers who either emulate you or who were here before, you're king of the mountain. And you don't have to show the people you're king of the mountain. I'm not putting myself in that position, but I'm saying they know that you know you're going to give the people X amount of entertainment from yourself. I feel when I walk on the stage now, hey, they came there not to like this, but came, hey, Sam's going to do a good show for us. That's all where it's at. You know?
That's interesting. You said only 4 years ago.
4 years. Up to that point, I was fighting for my life.
For me, it was earlier this evening. Right in the middle of the monologue, I said, I've made it. It's just starting to get together.
Sammy leans right into one of his strongest weapons, turning impressions into a full performance instead of a quick novelty. Jerry Seinfeld has Johnny hysterically laughing.
We're all here. You're here. I think that's important. Because you wanted to go out today. You're here. You wanted to go out. You felt like going out. And now you've done it. But you have to go back. And sometimes it seems to me like this is all we do in life. You sit around the house, you go, I want to go out. You go out, you stand around somewhere for a little while, and you go, I got to be getting back. I've been out. I got to get back. I want to go to sleep. I want to get up. I want to go out again tomorrow. Plus, I got to go to work. I get home from work, I got to get out. I go out, I got to get back. Wherever you are, you got to go in life. People understand that. You go up to them, can you stay? Nope, got to go. Okay.
Seinfeld sounds like he's just talking about ordinary life, but every line is built to snap shut, making small annoyances feel huge, which is exactly why it's drop-dead hilarious. George Carlin's Tonight Show stand-up routine.
That. Well, I think they did one time during the Second World War. The pen is mightier than the sword. I think because the typewriter is mightier than the machine gun. But I think it's time for the word processor is mightier than the particle beam weapon. Not all of these things are intended to be funny, by the way. Some of these are more like you think about them and drive home. Let me ask you a question. If a real stupid person becomes senile, how do you know?
Carlin's hilarious here because he takes everyday subjects and makes them sound sharper, meaner, and smarter than they have any right to be. Sammy Davis Jr.'s jokes break Carson.
Never had such joy in my life. I really haven't. I get into that kitchen before a show, prepare a dinner, or after the show, and we have those occasional days off.
Yeah.
We're on the road. And I must say, the people have been so supportive, all my family that travels on the road, and of course, naturally, Al.
And you take all your stuff with you, don't you? The cooking utensils and...
5 footlockers worth of cooking utensils, all my dry goods, my little pots and pans, for my mincing and dicing.
Well, you got to dice occasionally, yeah.
These jokes have that playful Carson energy, as Sammy Davis turns the whole thing into a showy comic performance, instead of just a straight musical turn while Johnny leans into the fun.
That's a pinch, you know, because our mothers and, you know, and fathers who cooked, they never had measuring cups and none of that, but it always had a consistency of taste.
Yeah.
You know, and that...
Put a dab.
Yeah, just a dab, a pinch. Just a little smidgen, a soup song, as they say. A little soup song.
Now, let me ask you this. Who cleans up after all of this? See, a lot of people like to cook, but they don't like...
The segment has a light confidence to it that makes the room feel very easy and very alive as Sammy performs like he knows every second should entertain somebody in the back row. Bob Newhart's German impression.
And he then comes back, and he's being interviewed on his impressions of Venus or Mars. And he goes to Mars, and they ask him, are they more advanced than we are? And he said, yes, I would have to say they're more advanced. And the interviewer says, how? God bless you. The interviewer says, how far advanced are they? And he says, I would say 6 weeks.
This joke from Bob Newhart is great here, as he starts with a strange little premise and slowly makes it sound completely logical.
I have seen shows where the monologue didn't go all that well, and I felt a certain testiness crept into your attitude toward the rest of the evening. So I was kind of pulling for the monologue.
So if the monologue sets in, you know that everything is going to work okay.
For me, yeah. See, I had figured that with Tony Quinn on the show, I figured Tony would come out first because he's the bigger star. And well, thank you.
As the joke keeps building through his treatment of the whole thing like a thoughtful observation, Phyllis Diller jokes about Ronald Reagan.
He's old enough to be the father of his country. He calls George Burns Sonny. He remembers when Carl Malden carried cash. In fact, Ronnie even remembers a heavyweight fight between 2 white guys. But he's terrific, but he is, you know, really old. His last birthday cake looked like a prairie fire.
Phyllis Diller makes this funny because she attacks the topic with complete fearlessness, while still keeping it playful, as her voice and timing give every joke an extra kick.
And he says he doesn't color his hair. Well, then he sweats purple. But, and you know, he smiles all the time. He's on television. Every time you turn around, I think somebody ought to tell him what's happening.
She knows how to sound half shocked by her own joke while still driving straight into it, as Johnny seems delighted because she keeps the pace moving. Steve Martin reads funny memories from his diary.
You want me to read something?
Yes.
Oh, God.
If it's not too personal.
No, it's fine. Sure.
Diary is intentionally personal possession, you know, and I wouldn't want you to...
I think every show business personality should keep a diary of how their shows went.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, here's one. December 8th, 1984, for a Tonight Show. Good show, went well, lots of laughter. Ed, very funny. Johnny seems sluggish.
The ridiculous premise with complete unwavering seriousness makes the mismatch between form and content absolutely perfect for comedy.
Wouldn't that be funny? You never come back at all? Yeah.
Never? Wouldn't that be funny?
And you know, we don't want to mess up your routine on this. I mean, the number of times you've been here. This is somebody pointed out. Do you have any idea how many appearances you've made on the Tonight Show over the years?
I think it's like 60 or something.
66.
66.
66 times.
The diary entries themselves sound increasingly absurd, yet Martin maintains his earnest delivery, never breaking character, or acknowledging the silliness unfolding before the audience, creating wonderful tension. Rich Little's non-stop impressions.
I tried to run the Tonight Show properly, but they fought me at every turn. If Johnny wants to run around doing lousy impressions of me, take Doc's outfit. Defective equipment, no more, no less. They encouraged the crew to scoff at Tommy Newsom and tell him he had a great personality.
Rich Little never lets the segment settle into one voice for too long, keeping constant momentum by moving from impression to impression rapidly. The laughs build because the audience stays in anticipation, waiting to see who he'll transform into, next creating wonderful tension between each new character. Tim Conway plays the hilarious preacher.
I would like to talk to you tonight about drinking. I would like to talk about the evil brew, oftentimes referred to as booze.
The preacher's voice alone already gets the room on edge with anticipation, but then he keeps adding little unexpected turns that make it exponentially funnier with each new bizarre revelation. He has that classic Conway gift of stretching a joke just long enough that it gets even bigger without ever crossing into tedious territory that would lose the audience's attention. Johnny looks like he knows trouble is coming, and that visible anticipation makes his reactions even better when the punchlines finally land, creating wonderful mounting tension throughout. The audience starts laughing before some punchlines are even finished, because the character is so perfectly constructed and committed from the very opening moment. Conway never breaks character, maintaining the preacher's earnest delivery regardless of how absurd the content becomes, showing his remarkable professional discipline and theatrical training. The religious setting provides incredibly rich material for Conway to explore, as he finds genuine humor without being overtly offensive, proving his sophisticated comedic approach. Booger Ray as the Oklahoma Pioneer.
That's right, on the Buzzard's Carcass.
On the Buzzard Circus?
Carcass.
Buzzard's Carcass?
Yeah.
Did you like to fly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure do.
They treat you nice on the...
Oh, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, were they...
I had a couple little girls on there that waited on me, and they found out I was coming to your show.
Yeah?
And I had done, I paid them for some beer and whatnot on there.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, Booger, we're going to give you your money back. Oh. Now, we're going to let you have your money back. I call one of them Tutu and another Cha-Cha.
This segment surpassed the typical Tonight Show joke standard because Booger Ray doesn't sound remotely like he's trying to perform in any polished show business way, but simply tells his stories with such natural, unforced confidence. The laughs keep sneaking up on you unexpectedly as Johnny clearly recognizes that the humor stems from how genuinely real the guy feels, rather than from any crafted jokes or rehearsed material. Every detail of each story sounds progressively more unbelievable than the last, which keeps the audience leaning forward, wondering where this could possibly go next. The charm of the entire segment is that it genuinely feels like late-night television accidentally stumbled upon a perfect natural storyteller who has absolutely no idea he's being funny. Booger Ray's completely authentic Oklahoma accent and dialect give the stories tremendous additional flavor, making them feel like genuine folklore rather than rehearsed material artificially constructed for television. Johnny wisely lets Booger Ray talk without unnecessarily interrupting, allowing the natural organic rhythm of his storytelling to build unstoppable momentum that would be destroyed by intrusion. The stories contain details so strangely specific and unusual that they absolutely must be true, giving them immediate credibility that enhances rather than undermines the humor. Booger Ray's unhurried delivery suggests he's told these exact stories countless times to friends over decades, making them feel comfortably worn in like old leather. The audience responds powerfully to the authenticity rather than just manufactured punchlines, as the entire colorful persona becomes the real entertainment, proving personality trumps polished material. Johnny's occasional questions gently guide Booger Ray toward the most inherently interesting parts without disrupting his natural conversational flow, showing masterful interviewing technique. The Oklahoma pioneer character represents a rapidly disappearing America that genuinely fascinates Carson's predominantly urban audience with its strangeness and authentic connection to frontier history. Booger Ray treats genuinely extraordinary events as completely ordinary, creating wonderful, sustained contrast between content and delivery that generates consistent, unpredictable laughter that became iconic throughout Tonight Show history. The Tonight Show discovered that comedy genius came in radically different packages, from Tim Conway's methodical character work, to Rich Little's lightning-fast impressions, to Rodney Dangerfield's no-respect jokes, proving that one man's desk could host every possible comedy style and make them all look equally brilliant. What made these segments legendary wasn't just the jokes themselves, but Carson's supernatural ability to recognize exactly what each comedian needed, whether that meant jumping in with questions or sitting back in silence and letting them cook, demonstrating that the best comedy curator in television history knew his job was making other people look good. Which funny joke on Johnny Carson do you think was the funniest? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more legendary and hilarious Tonight Show moments.